So, John Von Stein from QXC Communications. We are a network engineering, internet service provider, and telephone service provider. Right? We do a couple of things that are rather unique, and I appreciate your opportunity here, or the opportunity to present that. Okay, so what is QXC? All right. Well, actually, when you're trying to anybody try to name a company lately? Okay, it's really hard to do that, right? So we actually came up with what is it that really drives customer satisfaction? We said, well, in the telecom business, it's all about capacity, and it's all about quality, right? If you have a good quality connection and you have enough capacity, then you get pretty much happy campers, happy customers. And that's really how we came up with QXC. It's actually a formula. It's quality times capacity equals customer satisfaction. That's how we came up with it. And we get asked that all the time. Are you like the shopping network QVC? It's like, no, we're not. But what does QC stand for? Well, it's QXC actually. So we go through a little bit of that gyration. But just figured you guys would need to be in the know how we came up with that name. So we were founded right here in Boca. Well, actually, we're not here in Boca, but up there in Boca. In Boca Raton in 2011, when I came back to the States, I was overseas. Actually, I spent about 20 years overseas in various capacities. But yeah, we are based right here in Boca, and we are a national provider. And we'll get into a little bit about what our national products and services are that we deliver. And we're also a federal and defense contractor, so we've been all certified for federal and defense work for telecom. So, why did we get into this business in the first place, right? Well, there was a fundamental shift going on in the telecom business, right? Well, people used to have their servers, okay, and all of their applications and hardware and software and all that stuff and data in the same enterprise of which they worked, right? That was all the standard operating procedure for most companies. Well, that shift started to compute outside of the four walls of the enterprise. All right, what was that called? Well, we now call it cloud computing. All right, back then in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was called resource sharing or other things. But that's where AWS and some of the other big application servers and services became very much in vogue. There are data centers out there. Rackspace.com, there's Colo House, there's Telnex, there's all these other ones that are out there now that are offering hosting services, right? A lot of you guys and gals are probably involved heavily in providing managed services for customers like that. That's great, that's your business. We wholeheartedly support that. However, the connection between the company at that location and that data center became now a mission-critical umbilical cord from just an entertainment medium. So it wasn't just for occasional email or a little bit of surfing every now and then. It now became mission-critical. If your Salesforce.com doesn't work, if your VoIP phone doesn't work, okay, or if your QuickBooks Online doesn't work, all of a sudden now productivity in your company has completely stopped. Okay, we saw this fundamental shift happening about 10 years ago. And I said, all right, well, with every fundamental shift, there's probably someone's ox that gets gored. Who is it going to be? And we figured out very quickly that it was going to be this small to medium-sized business and a multi-tenant office building whose needs, because of that mission criticalness of the application suite that they're using and the managed services that they're using, they need a good quality connection, but they're only buying residential grade connectivity. They're buying Comcast, they're buying Uverse and other things, which were designed for video download. They were designed for TV, right? TV broadcast systems. That's what the cable company is, and that's what Uverse is. Right? It was a download-oriented network design. And again, our core is that we're network engineers, and so we're geeks, okay? And I'm the only geek that can speak English, so I do a lot of the presentations. But at the end of the day, the design of the network is going to deliver the overall quality of service, okay? And this is the fundamental design that's built into the QXC network. We were designed for the bidirectional, real-time, mission-critical user interface or interaction, as opposed to being a video download-oriented network design. And they're different designs. I mean, I love Comcast for TV, okay? It's a great network for that, all right? Works really well, great programming, all that kind of thing. That's great. But not for a VoIP phone, not for Salesforce.com, not for QuickBooks Online. All right, all these other applications here, it breaks, it's quirky, and there's the reasons for it that they build in to optimize for the video download that doesn't exist in a business-oriented or a commercial real-time-oriented design network. So that's the fundamental difference between us. So what else do we do? So, we have multiple modes of operation. We'll get into that. Oh, actually, Dan was talking about the recent customer that we installed in just a couple of days. So this was BBMK, actually. Okay. So here's some things. Okay, we got very symmetrical bandwidth. Okay. As opposed to being asymmetrical. You hear often, 50-20, 20-10. Most of our bandwidth is very much symmetrical. And we can do asymmetrical, but there's really no reason to. Okay, the reason why asymmetrical became an industry standard is because the video download companies couldn't do symmetric. Right? Again, it was a broadcast download-oriented network. They couldn't do the upload. Okay, and that's the reason why they said, oh, well, you don't need upload, you just need download. Well, you know what? If you're in a commercial enterprise, which is what most of your customer base is, not residential, right? I'm assuming most of your customer base are companies, right? The small and medium-sized business that are doing, hosted services. This is what they need. They need as much upload capacity, sometimes more, especially if you have a customer that is into graphics of some sort. All right. We had one company. It was a pharmaceutical company, and we couldn't believe how much upload they were doing. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, you guys make pills, right? Come to find out, what they were doing is all their advertising. They had their creative group at that location, and they were doing these monolithic shows about somebody spending quality time with their family pet, their dog or that kind of thing, which is great. But they wanted to upload that to their web server, and so they were doing multiple gigabit of upload of video upload every day, and so they clearly needed a strong upload as well as the download, because they were downloading those pictures as well. So, you really have to understand the nature of the business of your clients and be able to tailor the right product for it, and that's where we fit. So some of the things cool about this, right? So, does anybody know what speed is when Comcast or AT&T or anybody else in the industry talks about speed? They're usually talking about bandwidth. Okay, speed is not bandwidth. They're not synonymous. Okay, they're different. Speed is how long. Where'd that go? There it is. Speed is how long it takes a data bit to get from point A to point B on a network. That's speed. It's measured in latency. Okay, the smaller the number, the actual faster that data bit travels through that network. Okay, you're not going to see 1 millisecond in anything on Comcast or anything on Uverse. You're just not going to do it. It's a fundamental design of their network. Our network, QXC's network, is designed very clean. Okay, very few connection points between the end user and the internet itself. It's all fiber-based. Even our fixed point wireless product, which we'll go into a little bit in a couple of slides from now, it is one hop from the customer premise to our base station, to our fiber, and out. Okay, so very few number of connection points or hops, and a very, very, very fast network. Why is that important? Okay, well, if anybody uses a Voip phone, anybody use a Voip phone? Yeah, okay, a bunch of people do, right? Any of your customers use Voip? Absolutely, they all do, right? Almost all of them, or they will shortly. Well, those data bits, okay, we speak in real time, right? I speak, you listen, you talk back, I listen. Sometimes if you're like some of my family members, you're speaking and they start speaking around top of you, but it's bi-directional and you hear it as well as speaking at the same time. It takes two-way traffic for that, okay, technically, okay? The data bits have to arrive instantaneously or nearly so, okay? You can't have long pauses in between the data bits arriving because that's the way Voip works. All it's doing is taking an analog voice, breaking it down into a whole bunch of little data bits and sending it down the wire, okay? If those data bits don't get there in a timely manner, or worse, anybody hear jitter? Everybody know what jitter is, okay? Well, if those data bits arrive in a different sequence than where they were sent, because this one goes at 20 milliseconds, this one's going at 300 milliseconds, well, the 20 millisecond one that was sent afterwards is going to arrive before the 300 millisecond one arrives, and that's when you get the alien speak on the Voip phones. It's like, you get all this kind of crazy sounding voice quality, right? And these are mostly indicative of network issues, again, network problems. If you have a network that's moving at 1 or 2 or some single digit millisecond type of speed, you're not going to have those problems, right? It doesn't matter if the data bit arrives 1 millisecond difference, okay? For the human ear, you're not going to hear that audibly, okay? It's not going to hear the gaps in the spaces. So there's a real need for quality networking as we're going into that, and that's a lot of what this is showing here. Okay, so and I said, well, all kinds of problems you'll have on those kinds of networks, and if you need a quality connection, this is where you go. Okay, so what do we actually do? I mentioned we're network engineering, all right? We do build-outs for entire office parks. We can do an entire office building. That's our specialty. We're a network service provider, right? So we do fiber. We have our own fiber product. We have our traditional business. Our original business was fixed point wireless. We have towers, and it's a point-to-point, a series of point-to-point connections from the customer premise. It's a wireless link from the customer premise back to our tower, and then it's our fiber underneath the tower. We also do Wi-Fi, so we do a lot of Wi-Fi for events and things, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and social Wi-Fi. So for instance, what a social Wi-Fi is for a venue like this, like a hotel or any kind of a gathering spot, like a bar, a restaurant, that kind of thing. That public venue may offer Wi-Fi to their guests. That's great, and everybody's hopping on and looking at their phone, and doing things and using that network, but the proprietor doesn't know who they are, right? Social Wi-Fi is an application layer that we layer over the top of our Wi-Fi that prompts the user to sign in with their LinkedIn, their Facebook, their Instagram, their Twitter account, whatever have you. The system then goes out and captures that information in a database. So you know name, email, telephone number, age, gender, likes, dislikes, anything that's out there on social media, it mines, okay? And also has a built-in email campaign. So you not only know who was using it, you know when they used it, you know how often they came back. You can then send them email campaigns, you can send them coupons and other things. So it's a real revenue driver for your customer if they have a public venue like that. We are also a Voip provider, okay? So we have our own Voip platform. Our Voip platform runs in the same data centers that we have our fiber terminated in. So, and we'll go into this a little bit more. It has all of the same features and functions of 8x8 or Nextiva or Ring.Central or Ring.com or these other big providers out there that are over the top only. But it's a better quality product because it runs on our network. All right, and then as I mentioned before, not really applicable to this crowd, but we are a federal and defense approved contractor. We do a lot of fiber and Wi-Fi and some VoIP for them as well. Pardon me. So what do we have data centers? We have data centers here in Miami for the local market, Dallas, and also Los Angeles. Okay, we have those three spacing basically. We cover just about anything from there. We cover as high as Chicago. Obviously, everything in the Midwest here is all served out of the Dallas data center. Everything locally here comes out of Miami. And all of the connectivity basically flows the data and the voice traffic to the nearest data center, which is all well and good. The Dallas data center also provides our backup. It's basically a failover backup if we have to take Miami or Los Angeles offline for any reason. Miami is then also the backup for Dallas. So it's all sit there, it's all nicely managed that way. Our fiber map, so where do we provide fiber? So if any of you have any customers in this dark blue area, okay, we're a good choice to talk to, all right? This is, what we do is basically we will buy layer 2, which is also known as transport fiber, from a local last mile provider. Could be AT&T, could be FiberLight, could be XO, could be any others, okay? We have them connected to one of our data centers, all right? We then provide the internet connectivity out from there, out from that data center, and the internet connectivity is called transit, right? So we buy transport, we provide the transit. Overall, it's a direct internet connection for the client. QXC is an ARIN member, so we have our own IP address. If anybody knows what who is, okay, you can do a who is on our core IP address space. 162, 255, 60.0, okay? Check us out, we're out there. And we can do just about any speed. Mostly, most commercial applications will be somewhere between 10 and 100 meg. But we have some of the military that we're doing is up to 10 gig. We do 10 gig point-to-points. That's an awful lot of drone traffic. They're moving between military bases. So we're doing a lot of that right now. 1 gig circuits are as commonplace as 50 or 100 meg in the commercial world. It is unbelievable how much bandwidth the government's buying right now. Just incredible. Okay, fixed wireless map. This is South Florida, okay? Looks a lot better on a bigger picture, but you kind of get the idea. This is West Palm Beach up here on the north end. This is Wellington out to the west. That's right at the end of Lantana. That's one of our towers out there. This is Delray, so this is that tower that's right there by Linton and Congress, or Linton and I-95. We have a bunch in Boca, and then we have a bunch down here in Coral Springs, out here in the west, and Pompano, okay? And we also have a lot going on down here in Fort Lauderdale. So, and the reason for the circles is because that's the nature of that broadcast business. So this is, that is the nature of the broadcast business where you have a broadcast that goes out, we'll put a transceiver radio on the customer premise that creates that encrypted connection, very high quality connection back to the tower, and it goes out from there. So here's a quick question for anybody, okay? Which is faster, okay? A fiber connection or a fixed point wireless connection? You're not allowed to answer. Okay, well, a lot of people will probably say fiber, okay? And the answer is not, right? Actually, the fixed point wireless connectivity, that microwave connection, is actually faster. It moves data faster than a fiber channel, okay? So we have a lot of hedge funds. We have some of the world's largest hedge funds and trading firms that are located down here in South Florida as clients. And that's a lot of my background is in that financial services industry. So we've got a nice little niche there in the trading industry. They like it because they can get their orders into the market faster using our connectivity. Question?
Are you going to talk about speeds as far as what speeds you offer for the fixed wireless?
You talking about bandwidth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry.
There's that word.
Are you going to talk about it on another slide?
Sure.
Or?
Yeah, we can talk about that. We can talk about it right now. Okay, so we can do as small as 1 megabit up to with the multi point wireless, like the traditional broadcast that we have here. We'll often do anywhere up to 50 meg. Okay, so up to 50 meg, that would be an easy connection. With a point-to-point dedicated link, we can go up to a gig and a half.
The regular fixed wireless, let's call it that.
Regular fixed wireless.
Is it symmetrical or is it?
Yes, most of it's symmetrical. That chart that I had up there before, this was a fixed wireless connection. That's a fixed wireless connection. So that was a wireless connection to just a regular old average everyday tower that we have, nothing special.
Is it tiered? Like you say, oh, we do 25 by 25, 50 by 50. Like how do you do the speeds?
How do we do the speeds? What do you mean? Oh, so yeah, we'll make the connection. And this customer, I think it was a 50 meg customer, maybe a 30 meg. I forget what it was. But we'll take this as the raw speed, and then we can traffic shape it down. There's a way to throttle it down to what the customer subscribed for. So this may have been only a 10 meg customer. Okay, fine. We'll throttle it down to 10 meg. So their apparent speed is only 10 meg. Okay, fine. That's what they subscribe for. That's all they get. That gives us 40 meg of capacity to sell to other customers in that building.
Okay. Hey, my next question is going to be, because I noticed, and we're going to touch on this, but as far as the height of buildings and stuff for fixed wireless.
Yes. So basically, yeah, this is a, there it is. This is a line of sight technology. So we'll need to have line of sight, no trees, no buildings, no highway overpasses in the way between the customer premise and whatever it is our tower or base station is, okay? That's just the nature of that technology. If you have a 3-story building around here, that's usually pretty good, right? Because most of the trees, the palm trees and things are about 2 stories tall, or about 40 feet tall. All right, if you're a 3-story building, you're in pretty good shape. Okay, if you're taller than that, you should be golden. Okay, sometimes you get the low-lying buildings that are close enough to a base station it doesn't matter because there's enough down angle for us to see the rooftop anyway. We just got to be able to see the rooftop from the tower. So.
How do you qualify someone for service?
How do we qualify one of these locations for service? Okay, we'll go into that in a little bit. At the end, you just send in an address into us, right? We have a special email for TCG. All right, it's tcg@qxc.us. Real easy. You want a quote? You just send us an address. Hey, how about this one, right? And you send this into it. If you're basically looking at anything in the I-95 corridor, all right, in Palm Beach and Broward County, that is the commercial district. That's where most of the commercial zoning is for the multi-tenant office building, whatever have you. That's where we operate. That's where our fixed wireless system is set up. You know, it's usually a good bet. It's certainly worth asking. Okay, if you've got a 1-story retail store on Federal Highway someplace that's surrounded by trees, probably not a good bet. You know, but if you got a multi-tenant office building, a multi-story office building, you know, that's fine. You know, shoot it into us. We'll probably be able to get it if it's not already lit. We have hundreds of buildings that are already lit, and this is the other kind of cool thing that we can do. Right? We may not have every building within the footprint of a fixed wireless tower. However, we've got fiber customers everywhere. We've got lit buildings with spare capacity everywhere. And with some of these short range point-to-points, we can light up an entire corporate park by going across the rooftops. We'll bring in fiber to one building and then be able to do the fixed wireless across the rooftops, okay, and light up an entire industrial park or entire series of buildings this way. So whatever the building is, whatever the address, shoot it into us because we'll probably have connectivity to it somehow. And this is the cool guy thing about being engineers too, is that we'll design something. If we can't get there from here, we'll design something. We'll get there if it's worthwhile. Question?
How far from, say, the Wellington area, how far east towards 95 do you go?
How far east? Right there. These circles are 5-mile circles, basically. Those are pretty easy. We have had shots much longer than that. We've had shots as long as 20 miles, but that would take specialty equipment. Okay, with the basic equipment, 5 miles. These red circles are 5-mile circles, the big ones. And there's some smaller ones. It's the same technology, but they're shorter buildings, so therefore there's more visual impedance once you go out more than about 2 miles.
The other question I have is, excuse me, you mentioned that you're doing a lot of business with the federal government. What compliances have you got?
What?
Compliances, like HIPAA or?
Oh, yes, all of our networks are HIPAA compliant, although that's not a federal requirement. You know, to become a defense contractor, you have to be inspected, detected, suspected, certified, you know, I mean, everything under the sun. I mean, it took months to get certified, and luckily because of my background in the securities industry as an officer of some very large financial trading firms, and with my government work that I've done when I was overseas doing things, you know, I was able to zoom through the certification process and as short as like 9 months, you know. But it's not easy getting certified. But we've gotten certified, and there's no orifice that has been left uninspected. I can tell you that. Okay, question over here.
John, what do you all do technically to differentiate between your best effort product and your SLA product?
Okay, good question. So what's the difference between best effort and SLA? And let's, okay, so these are some price examples. These are SLA products, okay, service level agreement. You all know what that is. It's basically guaranteed bandwidth, okay? The best efforts pricing, all right, it's the exact same technology. It's the exact same connection. There's absolutely no difference whatsoever with it. The only difference is that we're saying that if we had a 10 meg customer here and we have a 20 meg customer here and we had a 50 meg customer over there, that we may put in just a 50 meg circuit to that building, okay, and have all three share if they've all elected best efforts, because the chances are with a network that runs at 1 millisecond or just a few milliseconds, even if you all try to coordinate hitting the button at the same time, okay, the data doesn't stay on the network very long. It's gone, okay? You never use, we've actually have usage where people have signed up for, 50 or 100 meg, and they use 4, really, at the end of the day. So it's called oversubscribing. It's an industry practice, okay? This is what Comcast does and everybody else does. We'll oversubscribe maybe 3 to 1 at a particular site, and really it's only for that building, okay? It's only for that building that we'll pull that fiber circuit into and oversubscribe. With a Comcast circuit, they're oversubscribing 600 to 1 because they've got the residential neighborhood behind the building hooked up to the same loop that they have that commercial building on. All right, so the leverage is significantly less with us, the oversubscription.
So the best effort is still symmetrical, but not guaranteed?
Yes. Yeah, it's still some.
Big price variance between one and the other.
Yes, it is. And basically, we look at this as, we look at it as a P&L of the building as opposed to the P&L of the customer, okay? That's what the fundamental difference is with QXC. We'll look at this and say, hey, you know what, that's an attractive building. We think we're gonna do well in this building, okay? And we'll go in with this kind of pricing, the best effort pricing. And, if we make $1,000 for a single fiber circuit for a customer, or if I make $1,000 for having 5 customers at 200, I'm a happy guy, okay? Question?
So let's say a client is in a building and they want to get your service, and the building does not yet have, it's not yet lit with either fiber or the wireless. And so at that point, I imagine that you have to make an agreement with the
Property.
landlord of the property to put it on there?
Yes, yeah, so the process basically is if it's not yet a lit building, the first next step is to meet with the property manager. And we give them the pitch, basically who we are, what we do, and we actually enhance the value of the property. So this is actually, property managers are gold because they get it, right? Because they're the ones that are getting the customer. Every time Comcast goes down, and we hear this every day. This is Tom Ward, by the way, wave your hand, Tom. Okay, he's the Director of Business Development for QXC. We get calls every day, okay, from people saying, I can't stand Comcast, I can't run my business on this anymore. We call the no mas moment, like no more, we're done. We get that. Probably 80% of our customer base, or what we refer to as Comcast refugees, they just come to us like zombies and saying, you have to do something for me, I can't do this anymore. So, and it works great because we'll tell the property manager, say, look, we're going to bring in a quality connection. You're not going to get these complaint calls anymore, because it gives a negative pall to the tenants overall when their stuff doesn't work and they can't do their job.
All right, but, okay, so now that's great for the property manager, but for the owner, the owner may not see the benefit. Is this something where?
Well, the owner's going to see the benefit because the owner's going to have a stable tenant base. They're not going to move out when their lease is up. So they're going to have higher renewals, going to have lower vacancy, and they can. And actually, there's a trend towards bundling the internet connection in with the lease now. That's starting to happen more and more often. That gives stickiness to the tenant.
Besides those latent benefits, I guess what I'm getting to is, do you ever negotiate any monetary benefits for that?
We have had several discuss that, and we found that there was no difference in behavior and in their adoption of this. They're either going to adopt it or they're not, okay? The minuscule amount of override or commission that they may get out of this is meaningless to them because they're looking to keep a $2,000 unit filled or leased out as opposed to the $47 or whatever it is. They don't even know what to do with it, but they don't have a budget for it. So we've tried that a couple of times. It doesn't work. It's not worth bothering with. For the most part, it's like, look, we're going to keep your tenants happy, and you're not going to get complaint phone calls. So like, okay, sign me up. Question.
Is there well, I'm assuming there's a difference in pricing between your fixed wireless and a point-to-point?
Nope, same pricing.
So we're looking at point-to-point would be under the best effort part?
No, we do SLA with the fixed wireless or fiber, and we do best efforts with fixed wireless, or it just depends what you want.
Gotcha.
It's the same quality connection, just depending on how we get there is just different. Some buildings we actually put both in. And we'll have fiber, we'll put fiber in the building and we'll put a fixed point wireless connection on there so that if we have to take the fiber offline for some reason, we'll route all the traffic over the fixed wireless and it's seamless because it's the same IP. Again, we own our own IPs, so the customer has a public IP of ours. It doesn't matter what route it goes out.
That's a big differentiator right there. Because it's our IP, who cares how it gets there, right?
Right.
As opposed to sitting there and building a network address table that says, oh, if it's this circuit, it's got to be this IP and it's got to route this way versus the other way.
Right.
With our IPs, it's who cares, right?
Question in the back?
Can I you mentioned that best effort was the symmetrical, but it's not. So I think he asked a question, is this best effort symmetrical? You said it was 30% of the upload. So
It can be. We can traffic shape it to whatever you want. I mean,
saying that you could do a 15 by 15 for 159 on the one here, best effort?
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
So
You're Cindy, right?
yes, yes.
Hi.
John and I work together. I send John stuff all of the time up in West Palm, and I sell a lot of microwave in South Florida. So I love QXC, and I think it's a great solution for voice and data. And it's not just a rural redundant, can't get it kind of thing. I think it's a great dual redundant, dual internet source.
Sure.
But my question is on the best efforts. Like if you do a 15, are you saying you could do 15 by 15 best effort at those prices?
Yeah, we'll promise 15 by 5, but 90% of the time it's 15 by 15 because we don't bother doing the
So for
traffic
sure,
shaping.
that's an important factor. So if I sell a 100, or sorry, if I sell a 5 or 15 there, what is your upload guarantee? 30%?
On the best efforts, there are no guarantees. I mean, but again, it's a, yeah, it is a really good bet that you're going to get what you got.
Up to 5 and up to 10. I'm asking, what is that? Because if it's an up to 2, then it doesn't work, right? On the best effort, what is the maximum uploads?
The maximum upload is going to be a function of the site survey that we do, because sometimes it is a little asymmetrical. Okay, fine, that happens. Okay, there's all kinds of reasons for it, but if there's a 15, oh, my pointer, oh well, yeah, I just changed it this morning. There it is. Okay, so if there's a 15 meg, right, what you should do is have your customer expect a 15 by 5. Okay, expect 15 by 5. And you know what? When they do the speed test and they get 15 by 14, they're going to be like, hey, look at this. This is great. Yeah, boy, we got away with something. I'm like, yeah, okay. Just send the check. So, yeah, so we underpromise and we overdeliver. Okay, and that's one way how we create happy customers. So, yeah, we promise 15 by 5 and we usually deliver more. Question again?
By the way, those prices are pretty insane, man. So those new prices, I think, really will make an impact. I mean, 100 meg for $259.97 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and that's in qualified buildings, so that's where in a certain area, so where we already have or are going into a multi-tenant building, okay? Don't expect 100 meg for $259 in a single tenant building, okay? Where we don't have the opportunity to sell multiple customers, all right? We have to have multiple customers because at the end of the day, I need to make $1,000 a building, okay? And whether it comes from one customer, okay, for $1,000, okay? Or if it's 5 customers at $259, fine, yeah, I'll take that.
But just to understand, I just did 2 for I did Able Plumbing, and I know that they're a standalone building, so John said, no, we can't do the best effort, we can only do our SLA product out.
That's correct.
500 feet away, so I need more tenants, got it. But then I did another quote for an office that's multi-tenant office building and selling 1 endpoint of best effort. You don't need me to go sell 5 other accounts, we just want to know that there's a multi-tenant building there to sell 1 account, right?
You know, I am hopelessly optimistic, okay? So if you give me a multi-tenant building, if you want to sell 4 more in there, that's great. But if not, then I'm going to go sell 4 more in that building, okay? We'll take them all, okay?
Well, no, that's right. So now I know that I've got a fixed microwave antenna on the roof, but I'm trying to understand. So
Or
you're
fiber.
going there to try to light the building every time, or am I going to be able to sell to other tenants in that building?
You can sell anybody under the sun, okay?
You're not going in there to contact the property manager to light the building. We're just looking for more customers for the building.
Yeah, yes, the answer is yes. We will contact the property manager, okay? Because we have to anyway in order to get permission to install, either in the telecom room for the fiber or on the roof.
For the customer, not the property manager. So we're gonna have the customer let you, access to the roof, and then you put the antenna up there. I guess I'm trying to
But the customer is going to give us to the property manager.
Process goes through the property manager.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm trying to understand if you're selling the property manager every time you go to tenant.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to talk to the property manager. You just need to give us to the customer, okay? We, as a standard operating procedure, have to talk to the property manager, get the permission, the second time I've done that, get the permission to install, okay, and do all that. You know, they want certificates of insurance and all these other kind of things typically, right? So there's a process that we have to go through with the property manager to even install that first customer. But once you go through that bother, then it's relatively easy to go install the rest of them, okay? Or at least introduce QXC to the rest of them. You can do that. Matter of fact, we would highly encourage you to contact the other customers in that same building because it's easy money for you. You've already gotten some of the blocking and tackling done. Why not sell them more, right? Either you're going to do it or I'm going to do it. Because the value for us and the bet that we're taking in a brand new building like that is that, especially if we're doing the best estimate pricing, is that we're going to get multiple customers. We have to get multiple customers for that to make financial sense for us. So either you're going to give them to us, or we're going to go get them. Question?
Two questions actually. One, is there a data cap on either the SLA or best effort products?
No data caps.
Okay. And secondly, how far, so I see you go as south as Fort Lauderdale. How far from that Fort Lauderdale tower or whatever it is can you get service?
On the fixed wireless?
Yeah.
On the fixed wireless, again, going back to the circles. Oops.
Because I'm just wondering if, Hollywood or Dania or any of those.
No, the circles are pretty good estimates about how far we can get out. It's about 5 miles, and so we can show you some of the circles or getting deeper into it. But again, if we will very often say, okay, well that's a multi-tenant building, we can't get to it from our fixed wireless, but you know what? It's one that we can light up with fiber, and we'll do that instead. And again, it's the same pricing. The fixed wireless is very quick for us to deploy when it's in our footprint, all right? And but we'll put in fiber into a building that we can't get to with the fixed wireless. That's fine, and that's why we created that product line. Question?
Yeah, if you get in and the customer wants redundancy, are you going to charge twice for fiber and for wireless, or are you going to put both in?
So good question. If somebody wants a true high availability or a true HA connection, we can do that. Yes, there is a bit of an upcharge, but it's not 2x, because we have what we call backup pricing. All right, so they can have the fiber as the primary, have the fixed wireless as the backup. The backup is a fraction of the cost overall because it's there, it's hot, it's live, but there's no traffic moving over it, so we heavily discount that, especially when you're going to bundle something like that. And then ask them, hey, how many phones have you got? We can sell that too. We'll even discount further if we get the phones.
John, one point. Please understand that the circles that you see up there are our dedicated base stations. We have hundreds of buildings, right? If we had a circle for every building that we had in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County, all you would see is red.
Yeah.
There's no date there.
There's no date. No, Broward and Palm Beach.
But when you add in the buildings where we are at, we then take a look at, hey, we're 2.5 miles down the street. Can we get a line of sight between here and there, right? We've got we've probably got over 100 additional buildings that we serve, right? Not directly from the base station, but from one of our other customers we've already got fiber, or we've already got a line of sight into that building. We then turn around and shoot it down to that spot.
Cynthia, I think you had a furniture store in Royal Palm Beach off of State Road 7. And it was exactly that. It was about 400 meters from a place where we had fiber. We have line of sight. We put in a point-to-point between the two. Boom, we had them lit up in like 3 days.
It was a one-story.
It was a retail. It was a large furniture store on State Road 7 up in Royal Palm Beach. But we had fiber 400 meters away, and we were able to do a point-to-point install and we had them lit up before they even moved in to the space. Yeah. Okay, let's continue here because I'm running out of time here, I think. Okay, so VoIP. We have national customers already. We have international customers already. I think we're in four countries now. It is a server complex that we have in the same POP as our fiber POPs are. Right? So Miami, Dallas, and LA. Why is that important, other than just convenience for my techs when they go to the data center? It's important because when you make a VoIP call, okay, voice over internet protocol is what VoIP means, all right? When you make that call, all right, it means that handset or the desk set that you have is actually communicating to our servers, all right? If that connection is going over the internet, which is unregulated, unmanaged, it's just a kind of a free-for-all out there, as you do when you're using Nextiva or 8x8 or RingCentral or Phone.com or any of those other guys, okay, like that are over the top only. With ours, it's actually on our managed network. It is a managed connection. It is on net. That is a clear advantage, okay? We can manage the quality of service for that VoIP call. It never goes out to the internet. That is a clear advantage when you bundle the internet and phone. And again, if anybody here is in tech support, okay, you'll get a phone call in a heartbeat, okay, when there's a call quality issue. You want to eliminate that. You do QXC fiber or internet with QXC phones, and you eliminate all those calls. Question?
Do you ensure QoS with some type of managed routers on equipment, or you're saying just because it's going over your connection?
No, we'll put a QXC router in the customer prem, okay, that is already optimized, obviously, to our network. And our VoIP product also works over the top, but then we're just like everybody else, okay? But we have peering relationships with all the other major fiber providers. And again, I'm getting kind of geeky on you guys, right? But suffice it to say that because we're an ISP, because we're an ARIN member, because we manage our own internet transit, okay, we have peering relationships with Cogent, with AT&T, with all these other major providers out there, so that when their customer, when a VoIP customer has a Cogent network or something that has a Cogent connection, whatever, it's essentially on net as well, because it comes straight into us, because we have a peering relationship with all the other major fiber providers. So even over the top, our VoIP is going to be better quality of service overall, because we have that peering relationship. And again, the major VoIP providers are not peering with fiber because they're not an ISP. They're not an ARIN member. They don't have their own IPs. They don't have their own networking. Okay, so our VoIP runs better because we are a networking company. All right. We talked about the service level agreement and the best efforts. I think we went over that. There's the pricing. All right, we talked about that. So basically the SLA and the best efforts, we went over that. Our VoIP product, right, $24.99 per extension. That is pretty much a very good price point. I think Comcast is like around 35. Everybody's got blue plate specials all the time. We can too. We can bundle services with the internet and phone, and we'd like to do that because we make.
What about the hardware?
Hardware, yeah. Polycom, Yealink, whatever have you. If they have their own phone, they can bring their own phone, as long as it's a compatible phone, which is basically any VoIP-enabled phone. That's fine. We can supply it, and we'll lease it to them on a monthly basis, or they can just buy it from us. We're not in a hardware business, so we'll make sure you have hardware one way or another, but we're not a hardware company. We're a service company. Question?
Just out of curiosity, do you have anything in Weston?
I'm sorry?
Do you have anything in Weston?
Anything west?
Weston, Florida.
No, as far as the fixed wireless, we're just southeast Florida. Fiber is nationwide, so if you have a building in Tampa, that's fine, we can light that up.
He's asking you Weston.
Oh, Weston, okay. Weston, okay. Oh, on the fixed wireless? No, nothing. We get a lot of calls for that, actually. Yeah, like out over here, right? This is like a technology dark area or something out there, Yeah. Yeah, Plantation and Sunrise and Davie, and we get, and they're all like one-story buildings. We actually have fiber customers out here because we've done, somebody asked about wireless, said no, but we can put fiber in there. We put fiber. We've got, assisted living facilities and other things like out over here. So yeah, just, again, TCG at qxc.us. Hey, what about this address? Can you do something here? That's all you have to do is send us a quick email, and that comes with a distribution list. Tom is the primary on it, and we'll run that address through our database and see what we can do. Okay, examples. Okay, the quality quotient. You'll notice we use a lot of Q's. Okay, in the business here. So our quality quotient, the four P's. Right? Do we have the right product? Do we have the right price? Do we have the right process? And the right people. So this is a lot of how we manage things going forward, and we're always looking at the industry, what's out there in the industry, what's best practice, how do we become the price product leader, and that's a lot of what we do. It allows us to be sustainably the performance leader. Bundles, we love bundles, okay? High availability, fiber and fixed port wireless, fiber and phones, that's great. We love bundles because that really makes it easier for us to have one relationship, multiple product or service sales. Really works well. And there's one butt to kick at the end of the day. My prior life, okay, I was a chief information officer for some very large financial services firms around the world, and there's nothing like having one butt to kick when something's going wrong, okay? And that's a lot of what we're trying to do is make sure that the customer is happy, because happy customers are lasting customers. If that's what you want, that's what we want, right? And we build things so that they don't break, and we build things so that the customer doesn't ever have to think about it again. It's what we call invisible infrastructure, okay? The only time you think about the air conditioning is when it's not working. The only time you think about the electricity is when it's not working, right? The only time you think about water is when it's not working. Right? So the same thing about internet and telephone service. The only time you think about internet and telephone is when it's not working. So you want it to be invisible, omnipresent, always working, and that's our modus operandi. And that's the Q in QXC, stands for quality, and we build that into everything we do. So that's enough about what we say about us. This is what actually, and this is how we got some quotes here. So Aaron, okay, these are things that they actually sent to me, okay? So, this is definitely a game changer, right? So, and he said that was kind of fun. I think I like that one. And Dan, love you, Dan. Yep, you're gonna be a made guy, pretty soon. So we're doing a lot of things. This was actually a little bit of jesting we're doing back and forth about some of the federal contracting and such that we're doing. That there's an inside circle of people that we're breaking into and disrupting and whatever have you. But it's fun. It's fun stuff. All right. So who are good referrals for us? All right, the target market is basically the knowledge worker. So the doctor, the lawyer, the CPA firm, the broker, the dealer, the medical tech, whatever have you, engineering firm, design firms, all those kinds of people tend to congregate in multi-tenant office buildings. That is our target market, all right? So, and these are all of your managed service clients too, probably, all right? This is your bread and butter. So we're going after the same target base. You're already talking to people who need internet and already talking to people who need telephone service every day, right? The only thing that's tricky is, okay, when's their current contract, okay, expiring, and just being cognizant of that so you know when that turning point is, and that's your opportunity to pounce on it, right? It's good for you, it's good for us. And call centers are great. We have a lot of call centers. This is like South Florida is overrun with call centers, and they need that quality connection. Okay, you can't tell you how many times we've had people come to us that were call center managers and say, look, nobody can hear our callers because it's crackling, it's fading out, it's gapping, it's echoing, all these other bad quality of service issues. We fix all that. All right, market potential. Okay, how many? Okay, just in Palm Beach and Broward County, there are 12,000 multi-tenant buildings, just in Palm Beach and Broward County, all right? So there is ample opportunity for us all, okay? The pie is pretty big. You just have to figure out who's where and go get a couple, right? Don't mind the federal stuff, but that's obviously a multi-purpose PowerPoint. Okay, oh, the other thing we do is events. Okay, does anybody go to the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show or the Miami Boat Show or the West Palm Boat Show? Okay, so the internet's ours. That's what we do. So we'll bring in a fiber connection to a nearby base station. We do point-to-points to spread the bandwidth around the venue, and then we do Wi-Fi out from there. Boat shows are particularly difficult because every one of those multi-million-dollar floating toys has all kinds of electronics in it that emit signal and just wreak havoc, okay? We figured out that as our main customer here at the boat shows said, we've got the secret sauce. We figured out what works, what doesn't work. We are vastly expanding our footprint and what we're doing. Matter of fact, I don't want to pre-announce anything like that, but we got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. But these are some of the things that we do. We'll obviously go through and we'll design the system first. This is actually the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. This is the Miami Boat Show. It's long and narrow. We do festivals, so this is Riptide Festival that was down in Fort Lauderdale beachfront. I think that one was Tortuga Fest. These are some of our guys, the Motley Crew. This is Miami Boat Show. This is an example of what we'll mount on. So this is a temporary pylon. So this is just an I-beam that they pounded into the mud to attach a dock to, okay? And we've got our antenna kind of mounted up there on the edge of that. Some of the things that are kind of fun about that is that here we go. This is a manatee, okay? So we put in miles of Cat5 to run out and put the access points on and stuff like that, right? Well, we used so much Cat5, our distributor ran out of white Cat5. Okay, fine, he had a couple of boxes of blue Cat5, fine. We put in the blue Cat5, and lo and behold, these are manatees. They kind of very slowly cruise around under the docks and that kind of thing, and they're coming up and they're grabbing the blue wire because it looks like something to eat to them, right? Because they feed on the vines and that kind of thing in the mangroves, right? So we kept having random outages, yeah, this is like one of these things you learn, only experience, would show this, but that's like one of the things we did. You had to figure out, okay, white wire from now on, only white wire. This is just a diagram of 1 day of the boat show. This is a 220 meg spike here, and that is sustained, about 90 meg sustained across download, and this is about a 90 meg upload spike. So these events move a lot of traffic. I don't have the graphic for Tortuga or that kind of thing, but they were streaming video of the performances, and they were uploading about 122 meg steadily, because it had all these different cameras here just uploading and streaming up to the internet. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And this was a typical speed test. So this is from a Wi-Fi access point, just this laptop, okay, or somebody else's laptop. I forgot where that snip came from. In the middle of a boat show, okay, it's 8 millisecond ping time to the internet. Now, this is from a laptop, wirelessly connected to an access point. They're getting almost 85, 87 meg up and down symmetric, okay, at a temporary event on a floating dock with a manatee chewing on wires, so. Question?
Is there an NRC associated with the fiber or the fixed wireless?
Yeah, there's a small installation fee. Again, that really depends on the situation. A typical installation fee is $250, because that's just manpower and the guys in the truck. If you see one of our trucks around, this is typically what they look like. You'll see the logo and that kind of thing on it. But yeah, it's usually a $250 installation fee, so not a big deal. Question?
Yeah. So talk a little bit how you prepare for hurricanes for your fixed wireless.
Mm-hmm. We love hurricanes. We love hurricanes because everybody starts thinking about, oh my God, what happens if my internet connection goes down? Right? And all of our equipment is hurricane certified. Okay, it's all wind loaded, certified, so that's not an issue. It's all mounted. I mean, we've gone through 4 hurricanes so far, and the only pieces of equipment we've lost is when some physical object strikes it. Okay, I mean, you take a 2-pound coconut and you move it at 60 miles an hour, the thing's a cannonball. Okay, it will destroy anything it hits, and we've had several pieces of equipment destroyed like that. But when Sandy came through here a couple of years ago is when we had the most damage. It were palm fronds. Okay, you think, it's just a bunch of leaves. Well, that thing probably weighs 20 pounds. okay, and it's got a lot of airspace, and it'll move, just kind of guillotine an entire, rooftop of equipment. It's pretty amazing what they'll do. Question?
What kind of gear do y'all use? What brand?
What brand of gear? Of the wireless gear?
Yeah.
Just depending on the situation, but they're all national brands, and some of the larger capacity ones, we use some of the high capacity microwave ones, which are same equipment that the cell phone companies are using to move, data off of their cell phone towers and things. So we've got a variety of equipment that we use, and there's an arms race going on right now in that fixed point wireless business, and the two big kahunas in that industry are Ubiquiti and Cambium, okay? We use both of them. There are some other ones that are trying to break into that, Mimosa, Ignite, there's a couple other ones they're all good in their own areas, and at any given moment, one's a little bit ahead of the other, and they kind of leapfrog back and forth. Let them battle it out, it's good for us. The quality is getting better of the equipment, and the price points are coming down, so that's all good. I saw another question? No? Okay. So what do you have to do? We talked about this a couple of times, okay? To get a quote, just tcg@qxc.us and say, hey, is this a good address? All right, if it's a good address and we reply back that it's a good to go, what do you need? Then we're going to need a little more information, such as the company name, the contact, property manager, all this kind of information. If you don't have the property manager, that's fine. Just we'll get that when we contact the customer. But it should be just pretty straightforward. How many VoIP seats do you want? And again, think bundling. Think fiber phones, fixed point wireless, Wi-Fi. The more services you can bundle into one deal, okay, the better it is for you, the better it is for us. All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Contacts, Tom Ward over here. He's the primary contact if you want to call him directly. Again, just the general sales for TCG, tcg@qxc.us. And then, of course, mine at the bottom here if you want to get a hold of me. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.